I was kidding. I just was like, well, they say that a lot. And his people.
Or PEDs.
Crazy part, I gained so much more respect for A-Rod after finding out he hangs out with thugs.
Listen, I was like, okay.
Hey guys.
Oh, guys.
And then I was like, Jennifer Lopez has a type. Do you see?
She really does.
You see, she has a type. Now I see, because it's like, how did she go from like Diddy to like Ben Affleck to this? And it's like Ben Affleck was like a one-off. That was a fluke because she's trying to clean up her image. But we see what she's really into.
Where's Ben Affleck?
Weirdos? Is that the answer? Is the answer weirdos? Is that what she's into? Because that's
that's
the common thread that I have here.
That, but also niggas that like to flirt with crime, because like you see after the gun charge that Shine took, hey, that gun charge, then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, I'm with this white man from Boston, and then after that didn't work out,
but she in love with that white man.
If Affleck
is in love with that little white man.
Look, if Affleck
because A-Rod has a picture of himself as a centaur in his house. Like,
listen,
eventually,
do y'all watch Parks and Rec?
Yes.
I have.
Okay, do you remember that? Do you remember when they painted fucking was it Aziz? No, it was Leslie as a centaur.
Yes, I do.
And her titties was out. That's what that made me think of, was like fucking Parks and Rec. Hey guys.
Hey guys. So
I'm Chris. That's VJ down there. Penrose to my whichever side that is.
We use StreamYards backwards.
This is all docked up.
There.
You guys are wondering why we started. You guys are wondering why we came in talking about J-Lo.
Right. I just want to make a point real quick. This proves that Penrose is always late because I'm never next to Chris.
You're never next to me. And look at you on time like a motherfucker. Congratulations.
Has some extenuating circumstances. But
it usually is like in the way that it's like supposed to be. And it wasn't.
Penrose beat me. You did.
I almost feel like I can even come back.
I mean, I can move you. Like,
it's so good.
Look.
There we are. Yo,
okay.
This is the first time here. I need you to understand that everybody else that's already been here understands that what we're going through right now is part of this show. So if you are new here and you are going to be a fan of this show, understand that we are going to talk about documentaries, but we're real people like you, and we want to laugh about life just like you do. So we're not going to talk about what we were talking about off air, but yeah.
So, Penrose, we are here because of you. So before I let you tell us a little bit about this or we start getting into it,
right? Some
people were kind of saying like on the gram that we need to do some sports documentaries. And we were like, okay, like the wrestler New Jack had just died. Right. And so I was like, oh, like we could watch one of the what is it called? Dark Side of the Ring. So we do have some of those that are possibly coming up. But then Penrose just pops in and was like, yo, add Screwball. And then I add it and then I spin, and it's literally the fucking documentary we gotta do. So it's a sports documentary, but it's for like, I appreciate it because it's like literally the funniest shit I've ever seen in my whole life.
Real shit.
It is. So shout out to them.
The funniest shit.
Certainly, it's well produced, certainly, because I was
really
intrigued.
Is.
And I had seen it before when it came out, but I didn't remember much about it. And so I was like, okay. I was like, I don't remember it being this funny, but
I submitted it.
I was cracking up.
I submitted it because of, people asking about sports documentaries, and I read about it, but I never saw the funny part about it until you went in the friend group and was like, yo, what's up with these kids? And I was like, what?
Yeah, because that shit was killing me. Like, because, like, they were doing such a fucking good job at, like, giving, like, just enough, like, this is the real story, this shit really happened, but also, like, giving me the fucking giggles. Like, that shit was so fucking great.
The fact that
they have facial hair and shit, like these niggas, they put fucking the one kid with the fake tan and all shit, like...
The fact that these children were literally mouthing the mess ups, like when you talking to you like and then
and they're like
I was like, yo, this is.
It's like that show Drunk History.
Where you like, which Oh, I love that show. Come back to Drunk
I
History.
know. Come back, Drunk History.
So, everybody that's here, is
this our version of Drunk History?
Might be. We always drinking.
We have to have a time where we all just like decide we're gonna drink something, and then like we have to watch like a historical something.
That would be insane.
I think our most favorite show was the 7-5, and Mike gave us enough fucks. For, you know what I mean? We couldn't have been drunk for that shit.
Right. It's like the greatest show. Like, it's hella educational and also hella funny.
I want you all to see my brand new cup that I purchased.
Do, bitch. I meant to say it before we went off, like before we went live. Like, bitch, yes, with this cup and this matching straw on top.
They color change. I got like a 4-pack at Walmart. If anybody's interested, they're like $5, and they come with the straw.
I love this. I'm a cup whore, and I'll just admit that. So there you go. I love this. Okay, so Screwball, guys. Baseball's juiciest scandal.
Right.
We're talking about. Was it? What was the juiciest? Was it the fucking fishnets?
What?
Didn't a nigga have fishnets on?
Who?
Was it like? No, not A-Rod. She said, was this the juiciest baseball scandal? I was like,
you talking about the fishnet? Okay, yeah.
I was talking about, or was it when a nigga was taking pictures of the fishnets? Like, was that the juiciest scandal?
Depends on what type of life you live. You know what I mean? If you're a sports fan,
yeah, we'll say this is
the juiciest scandal. If you're a real nigga, a nigga take a picture of fishnets. His whole that's personal group chat text message shit. Like, girl, did you see this shit? Listen.
Yeah, so go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This is your shit. Go ahead. No, it's your shit.
No. Yo, if you're a sports fan, the reason why this is the biggest sports scandal is because if you're my age or just a sports fan, period, you remember when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa had the home run race. They hit an amount of home runs apiece that had never been seen in history. And even at that time, they still weren't considered the greats. And you know I can be long, so I'm going to keep this short. The reason that this became the biggest scandal is because Screwball at the base of it is about Alex Rodriguez, who was the highest.
Ooh, did we know that?
There you go.
Dropping knowledge, Josh. Shout out to Josh for dropping knowledge.
I was gonna get to that because he never did pop positive, to be honest about it. And Barry, you know what I'm saying? And they put the asterisk next to Barry shit, but they don't want to put the asterisk next to nobody else, which is some fuck shit. But Alex Rodriguez became the highest paid baseball player at that time ever. And Screwball literally, if I had to explain it to somebody, this is literally the story of Alex Rodriguez fucking over Major League Baseball and running with thugs. From the aspect of children. This shit's amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I do remember the whole Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa thing, and then I always thought it was odd because then and they don't talk about it specifically in this documentary except for like a brief passing about the whole situation with Barry Bonds and then like the fallout from the Balco scandal because that happens about the same time, and that's what initially makes the MLB start to kind of do this whole performance enhancing drug testing, whatever, because they weren't doing that. And so then when the whole Balco shit fell out, then they were like, oh, well, maybe we need to start testing people. So that's kind of where we are when this opens. These people are kind of looking for an edge that's different than what the Balco situation was offering. Basically, like, how can I do this and not get caught?
And if you guys are wondering...
this test. And that's about...
And if you guys are wondering where I was when all this shit was happening, I was just like, damn, that's a lot of fucking home runs.
Like the shit was
no, because like my grandma, like my great grandma used to watch it and shit, and like my like older cousins and shit, but like I didn't really pay attention until they made me pay attention. And so I was like that. I wasn't like, that's weird that they're doing that. I was like, damn, these niggas are strong as fuck. Like,
and that's the crazy part because if you look back, Canseco was always juicing. And when we get to the Mark,
I think we could tell.
Like I remember literally being in the truck with my dad, getting home, and this is well before cell phones and you getting alerts and shit. So we go in the house and my dad turned the TV on and he like, yo, the game on. And when he turns it on, maybe 5 to 10 minutes into watching the game, Mark McGwire cracked another fucking home run. And so at that time, being a teenager and not giving a fuck about baseball, but before that, I really wasn't up on the home run numbers. But once you pay attention to that shit, you see the difference. It's like America in the 80s when we went from not knowing shit to all of a sudden now we win in the Olympics and sending niggas to the moon. Yeah, we stole the German scientists. These niggas started juicing and nobody wanted to really pay attention to it. And it's
it is that thing with like baseball and the purity of the game, right? They do that shit now where they don't want you to celebrate and don't do this and don't do that because that's against the unwritten rules. So it's like, before, like you said, you had all these skinny dudes playing baseball where you didn't have to necessarily be the strongest or the fastest, but you could be a successful baseball player. Then you have these motherfuckers that are juicing themselves like a goddamn orange. And, now they're cracking 70 home runs, 80 home runs a season. Like, that's insane when you think about the next closest person to them. And everybody was kind of like, yeah, but this is good because we got more people watching and more asses in the seats.
The exactly. And the MLB, regardless of what the rules are, and I feel you, if you break the rules, I guess there is some type of stipulation. But just like in basketball, everybody say Magic and Bird saved it, but yet Jordan made it profitable. If you know anything about basketball, the fucking playoffs was videotaped and shown to you probably 3 days after the game. I say all that to say, when it comes to MLB, if you've ever watched baseball, the shit's boring. If you've been to a game, the shit's fucking amazing.
It's just because, why is going to be so many innings? Like, everybody else is settled on 3 to 4. Like, what is happening here? Like,
because they need that many for somebody. Because until these motherfuckers was hitting 70 home runs, you needed that many to see somebody hit the fucking ball, girl. Like, you needed that many for somebody to do something. Like, you needed that many because otherwise it was going to be 0-0 all the fucking time. Like, they needed that shit. 2 innings wasn't going to cut it, girl.
Those dudes having that home run race literally put a light on baseball that never would have been there. Think of the Hank Aaron's, think of the Babe Ruths, think of Jackie Robinson breaking into all of the good shit you could think about baseball. Niggas still literally be like, as soon as motherfucking basketball season ends, niggas is like, damn, I can't wait till fucking September for football to come back. Nobody gives a fuck that baseball is around.
You don't want to watch it. Like, you want to go to the game. You might want to play.
The games are fun.
Sit at home and watch.
Exactly. So we
start at biogenesis?
Yeah, we open up with a guy by the name of what was it, Fisher Porter, telling us the story. Porter Fisher. I'm sorry. The story it leads really straight into the documentary because it automatically lets you know that it is about biogenesis and about A-Rod. After they show this story, there we go, Pee Wee Herman word. After we show the story, we meet a man by the name of Tony Bosch. Tony Bosch, and what I like about this
oh wait, hold on, I got a screenshot.
No doubt. Everybody has baseball cards as their when they introduce these people. So I think that's pretty fucking dope.
I got the screenshot of him.
But Tony Bosch is the only one with
Tony Bosch's?
Yeah, he's the only one with so-called stats.
Oh, he says that it included things like he's a biohacker, a biochemist, a functional medicine expert, a sports performance scientist. I just want y'all to keep in mind that all this shit has asterisks beside it because it's self-proclaimed. He's saying he's all of these things.
Biohacker, biochemist, molecular medicine specialist, peptide expert, functional medicine expert,
nutritionist,
integrative medicine, nutritional expert, sports performance scientist, nigga. He said he is a scientist on you hoes.
Putting shit together.
And then they all have an asterisk, like VJ said, because it just says self-proclaimed. Like, he had the funniest baseball card to me. Like,
he did. Tony is a physician, but police. Tony's doctor is a well-known doctor in Florida. In the documentary, it states that Florida is for the Spanish community. Baseball is a big thing, and medicine is a big thing. Tony's dad was a great doctor. Tony, by proxy, which I think is fucking dope, is actually his granddad was actually like the biggest anti-fucking Castro terrorist ever.
That's pretty fucking crazy and dope. Like,
dude did jail time. He blew up. He fucking
and didn't mind.
To a Polish ship in the Miami port. Like he was like, "Nah, I'm not fucking with y'all," and politely blew that shit right on up. Like,
and went to jail with
went to jail.
He really did. He knew when to duck his head into the car and everything. Like it was
like he was ready for his cousin. You couldn't tell him.
No more pictures.
He turned his head to the camera and was like, "Yeah, I did it."
But Tony just happened to not be as successful as his family.
Well, Tony's a moron. So let's not.
He just not as smart as everybody else.
Let's call a spade a spade. Tony does not have the drive or the intelligence to be a medical doctor. What Tony does have is connections to people who can get him into medical school somewhere else, which I thought was crazy when you think about it, because I'm assuming his parents speak Spanish. I'm assuming he speaks Spanish, but he went to,
remember?
But it was crazy. But remember, he goes to the only English-speaking country in all of South America to become a doctor.
Who else do we know that went to Belize? Fucking John McAfee. It all makes sense.
Oh, you're right. Makes sense. Belize is where you want to go do like
where you go do crimes.
Where you do iffy shit. Like
this is where you go to do questionable things. Questionable things with questionable people.
So I have to say, when old boy was talking about the college that he went to, like, okay, he went to a fucking college in Belize, but like in a documentary, old boy said that the college was like of medicine and performing arts. Like, it wasn't. It wasn't crazy. It said Central America Health Sciences University, Belize Medical College.
Yeah, like he tried to make it sound like he was over there fucking taking drama classes and recreating music. Like he was over fucking doing fucking dramatic interpretations and shit and swaying like a tree back and forth to like electronic music instead of like getting a degree. Like he dead ass. That's why he said it there and made it sound like he had no medical training whatsoever, and then he was like doing jazz hands in between classes and shit on the quad. Like
he definitely
that's what you do after a successful surgery, nigga. Like
right. Hey, did we get that one? Oh, we did. Hey,
we did that. So it was like, yes, he was
not an American physician.
In Belize. In Belize, he could do whatever. Like,
listen.
Yeah, so he just
you can sell dope in Africa.
He just can't be a doctor in the United States because they feel like the curriculum is not up to par. But I will say that I distinctly remember being in college, and before my mom had got sick, I was pre-med. And so I was thinking about going to college, and I remember getting some type of flyer about a school that essentially is the same thing. Like, you go study medicine, but you go to somewhere in Cuba or something, and you do the medical program over there. You have to learn to speak Spanish, all that shit. And then once you graduate, then they put you, basically you agree to come work in the United States for like free, or like in some of these impoverished schools or like impoverished hospitals, kind of like Teach for America, but if it was like medical students for America, like
okay.
Yeah, like instead of badass kids in like a fucking underfunded school, it's like.
And did you go like like this? Kobe, did you go like that?
Well, my mom got sick, so I didn't have to make any decisions like that. And I was like, well, pre-med's out. We got to pay bills over here, and bitch needs a job. So I was like, whoop, that saved me. But I mean, I hear it's actually very reputable, and I've seen them do like stories on people. But yeah, the point is that what he did is not uncommon. A lot of people do get medical degrees or licensed in other countries and then come to America to practice. Right. It's just Belize is probably not the place you want to do.
You got to think about that. It's the only English speaking country in all of fucking Central to South America. There's a reason for that. Everybody knows that one house on the block that you don't go to. You fuck with the people over there. They cool to the motherfucker, but you don't spend no time there. It's a fucking reason. Listen.
Yeah. You got to see them out in the street.
Listen, we're so sorry to the people of Belize. I'm sure that school is wonderful and it produces great doctors, but Tony Bosch is not one of them. Like, we're so sorry.
The thing about Bosch,
you are wonderful. He is not.
The thing about Tony Bosch, I will give him, is I love the hustle. Two things about this documentary, y'all, and we're going to for real get all into this. For one, the highest paid baseball player literally got investigated over somebody getting stiffed out of $4,000. We'll get to that. Also, this nigga Tony Bosch literally started $1 million practice off of fucking being depressed over his fucking divorce and giving fucking advice to a bartender.
Yep.
Because right after we find out who Tony Bosch is, they show him, or the child Tony Bosch, the child actor.
You guys have got to see this shit.
Who is thinking adorable. He's like the shortest one out of all the kids, and he is the most.
He got that like frazzled hair and
the
shit.
frazzled hair and those big eyes. Like he is thinking adorable. He
his
really
like his shirt and tie is how loose and shit.
It just makes the reenactments like 20 times crazier because Tony
so
looks completely coked out, and this poor child is like cute and adorable and doesn't have
but
also
eyes. Pretending to be coked out.
Right, they got this child pretending to be fucking high on drugs.
It's fucking great.
It's a good time.
It really is. So how do we end up? Okay, so basically he's overhearing a bartender's conversation, and he basically suggests a regimen, right, of what he should do. So he goes and does it. And then a couple days later, because I guess this nigga's still depressed, he come back to the bar, and the dude is like,
it's my understanding, right, that he was like staying there. Like, I guess because
maybe that's
kicked him out or whatever, because he was like,
was in that big ass house that we saw, and he was
like he was living at the hotel, so he was down there every day. Like, he was just at the bar.
Down there every day. So a couple of days go past, and dude is like, "Yo, that shit is so amazing. My wife is asking, like, can you give her one?" So he's like, "Yeah, do this, do that." So then 4 or 5 days later, he's like, "Yo, my wife got like 4 or 5 of her fucking friends, and they want to do that shit too." And like that's literally how he started. So how did we get to like how do we end up in Miami? Yeah, go ahead, VJ.
So when he was saying this, my fat ass was like, okay, what was the regimen? Like, can I
also hear it?
I was sitting there, like, and I just had my pen in my mouth, and I was like, interesting.
But what he told him, you got to think about
regimen.
What did he told her?
Like,
she's like, it was in 3 days. Like, what was it?
Right, what happened? Is it coke? Like, wow.
I was like, is it coke? I want some coke.
Right.
Like, you got a natural, like he was saying, you got the way your hormones work is natural at this point and natural at that point between the morning and the evening. So I think he just evened it out for dude. Because, you know, a lot of people, when we don't know shit about the gym, we just going in there taking shit and pumping iron and hoping for the best. You see what I'm saying? So,
which I think proves that he actually knew something.
Right?
He's talking nigga something.
Exactly. They was really trying to play your boy. Like they tried
to play him. And I will absolutely be on Tony's side and said he might have been a coked out drug dealing whore bag, but also
but he kind of knew what the fuck he was talking about. He kind of knew
what the fuck he was talking about.
And it's true because the only reason people got caught is because niggas didn't listen to what the fuck he
regimen. Was not listening.
That's the fucking Pee Wee Herman word, nigga. Regimen, nigga. Stay on the regimen.
Exactly. Because we get to a point after this, y'all. We get to the point his business is now started, and he says a guy comes to him and tells him, "Hey, I need your help. I have a Major League Baseball player that is walking around like an old man. He can't even pick up a bat." Says this baseball player comes in, he tests the man's blood, and he has the testosterone of a 90-year-old man. Now, for anybody, again, who watches sports vaguely, deeply, whatever, we all know, and because this baseball player was Manny Ramirez. When Manny Ramirez came in, he had so much hype, all of a sudden he became damn near a bum, and then Manny Ramirez took the fuck off. And he's been great.
You know, it was bad. He was down bad. Folks was like, man, he's not gonna get re-signed. You know, he's a bum. Why did they even get him? Like, it was.
Remember, Sox was getting him up out of there. He got to the doctor.
How does testosterone? I can't.
Testosterone.
There you go.
That, like 90 years old. Like, what are you doing? What's happening? Like, how does that happen?
Right.
It could be anything.
He could have been taking bad drugs. He could have been taking steroids from somebody else that had him on a fucked up plan. He could have been eating
vegetables.
There you go.
I mean, it literally could be any number of things. It could be just a breakdown in your body. It could be hormonal. It could be thyroid. Like, it could really be any number of things,
right,
that make you not produce what you're supposed to. But
so let's back up just a little bit.
Okay.
2007, right? He's in Key Biscayne, Florida, and that's where he sets up, right? And also, it's important to know, guys, he can't write prescriptions. Remember, because he's not licensed here.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
So, remember how we said his daddy was a real doctor over here? So he got his daddy involved to write the prescriptions for these regimens that he's prescribing because he can't do it. And he's calling this stuff hormonal replacement. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which it technically is. Just the hormonal replacements are kind of
the people he was giving it to that make money like you and I, he was giving them proper hormonal replacements. To niggas that was giving him that bag, he was shooting their ass up. It's a difference.
Yeah, as I was saying, like I think there's a difference in what everybody was getting. But I'll take this opportunity to say that, like, for some background, we kind of get this kind of long drawn out thing. So I will condense it down. Miami basically is the place where, Ponce de Leon, the Fountain of Youth, these people want to be gorgeous and fabulous, and they don't want to fucking wait. They want to do it right the fuck now. And so anti-aging clinics are a big thing like that. Anything that has to do with anti-aging or beauty or, health, that's really big in Miami. And so what he says basically is that you have doctors from all over the country that, they retire, they close down their practice that they've had, and they want to come somewhere and live sunny and be on the beach. Well, they get a little extra cash by essentially renting out their prescription pad. Exactly. What they do is they just basically attach their name as basically the medical doctor to these clinics, so you can be like, oh, well, I have somebody that's a board certified doctor who's actually writing the prescriptions, so you don't have to worry. So basically it's a way to reassure people that they aren't getting scammed or getting like injected with like chicken broth or shit. Which is what it is, because these people actually don't come to the clinic. They really are just renting out their script pad and being like, okay, you need this, this, and this. Okay, great, blah, blah, blah. And they get like a 20% cut. So it's a way to just make money after you've retired. So it's really, so basically I say all that to say what his dad is doing, while we're looking at it like, oh my God, that's illegal. It's really kind of out of right, exactly. Like it's very standard. Like he's not out of the realm of what the fuck else is going on in Miami. Right. They probably are on kind of the more tame side of what's going on.
Exactly.
Like they don't feel it that much by comparison.
Real quick,
go ahead.
I think you about to say what I'm about to say. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I just want to make sure we catch up in the stuff in between, like why Manny Ramirez's shit was working. So I just want to be able to pull it back some. So the 2000s happened. Or 2000s came, and then the Belko scandal happened with Barry Bonds' trainer, right? And then that's when they found out that about 5 to 7% of the tests that the MLB were doing initially, people were testing positive for steroids in 2004. So then the Mitchell report comes out.
They were spending those people. I said, yeah, like 5 to 7% of people are pissing hot, and they're just kind of like, oh, okay, don't do it anymore. Don't do it anymore, okay? And they're not doing anything.
They're not doing anything about it, and they're continuing to piss positive. So the Mitchell report comes out in 2007, and that's where it's this motherfucking big, and it's basically like, you niggas, your time is fucking up, and you niggas is not about to be in here fucking roiding it up and fucking breaking my backs and all of this shit like that. And so basically it's had a whole bunch of fucking stipulations and like regulations and rules. And basically it prohibited most people from being able to continue on with whatever regimens they were going through, whether it was through Tony or anybody else. So then Tony creates this thing called microdosing.
Right.
And so that's what Manny Ramirez gets into. And so it's Tony's workaround. Like he read the Mitchell report and he fucking figured out how they could take the stuff that they needed without testing positive. Right. So just enough to fucking give them the boost, but not enough to fucking test positive. And so he has specific days and specific dosage and times of day and things like that.
He said
essentially what he did is what he did for the people at the bar. Like your body naturally produces these things. So we're going to give you enough to give you an edge, but not so much that if you go have to take a piss test after the game, that it's going to be off the charts. It's going to all look
Right.
like it's within normal levels. So he's essentially
Right.
calculated doses that your body will work off and work with
Right.
that don't look outside the normal range of what you would normally produce.
And he
Which
said
is
it more
smart
than
as
once.
motherfucking shit. Like, Tony's a goddamn idiot, but the bitch can count.
He can count.
Well, you
A
right.
moron, but goddamn it, that bitch can
Listen,
count.
He can measure, nigga.
most hustlers, you know, that made it off the block ain't got a high school education, but they can count money quicker than a fucking accountant. You see what I'm saying? So he said it more than once. I'm a physician. I'm not a fucking magician. If I tell you to do this, do this.
You gotta do what I tell you.
That's
So
how
Manny blows.
What did
the
they
fuck
do?
up.
What didn't they follow?
The regimen.
Regimen.
So Manny gets a motherfucking regimen. And like he said, like Penrose said, like his fucking shit is off the chain. This nigga got a fucking slogan and shit now. This nigga on the fucking cover of Sports Illustrated. Like niggas is loving him, right?
So,
And can we talk? Are we gonna talk about
Manny Ramirez paid $40,000 initially to this man for what his services were.
Right.
Yes.
2007, 20 home runs. 2008, that number jumps up to 37. He gets $45 million in the contract that he signs for the Dodgers. We were talking about the same man the 2 years earlier. They were trying to figure out a way to, I don't know, to stick this nigga in a canal with the Gators to get him off their pay. Whatever they can do, they were about to fucking do it. But what's wild is when he showed up at that man's clinic, he patted him down to make sure he wouldn't wear
Real shit.
Wire.
Real shit.
Tony was like, I don't know what he was doing. He patted me down and hugged me, and I didn't know what was going on. And I was like, shit, I know what was going on.
I know what was happening.
Him up.
Man, look,
you're not police, nigga.
Just like they said, a lot of them dudes that's from Puerto Rico, Cuba. Most of the motherfucking baseball players that ain't 100% like American black, they fucking from the islands. Mm-hmm. They feel just like us. Nigga, I'm a fucking $100 million dude. I gotta make sure you ain't got no motherfucking wires on you. I'm literally asking you.
How do I know that this is not a setup and you're not about to go out the back door and report me because I tried to buy steroids? Like
exactly.
So Manny is his first fucking VIP client. This nigga is like traveling with him. Like so wherever Manny's at, he's there. But he's not the testosterone guy though. He's his fucking PR guy. He's the fucking assistant. He's like, I don't know. I don't know. But he's like doing everything except what he's there for.
Right.
Let's talk about what happens when you have to travel with Manny.
I don't want to believe none of that story. I really don't.
You think Tony making this up?
I mean, I don't think Tony's making it up.
A bedtime story though, and he couldn't sleep alone. And is it really because he's weird, or is it because he wanted to make sure this nigga was not going to rat him out to the feds? Like, I haven't figured that out. Like, is it because he's really weird, or was he just weird with your white ass? Like, which one is it?
Right. Because these are valid questions.
So you don't think something like that, Manny Ramirez at that time being the most popular player in baseball for those couple years, you don't think somebody's gonna be like, yo, Manny can't sleep by himself? That shit would have came out. You know what I'm saying?
And then I'm just like, okay, so if he wasn't sleeping by himself and you're sleeping with him, who was sleeping with him before you were? Was it
probably
like
just like plethora of bitches? Yeah, that's what I assume. Like he's just like always like a baseball bitch. Like, come here, baseball bitch. Like
if the baseball bitch telling him bedtime stories,
like biker hoes.
Yeah, nigga. If Manny Ramirez fucking pulled, if I was a baseball bitch and Manny Ramirez pulled me out the fucking stand, I'm gonna be like, and he hit that home run as hard as he could.
Listen, leg up in Manny. So what is it?
You want to read the Bears Bears tonight? I got you.
Let me flip it open. Give me that book. You want me to wear a bonnet like she does? Yeah, let me pull a bonnet.
Yo, shout out to the Bears mom. She did rock a bonnet.
She's outside, nigga.
Yeah, fuck you, Monique. That bitch got to wear a bonnet. I want to wear a bonnet too.
At school. At her when she tried to get a job.
Everywhere.
Yeah, fuck you, Monique. I love us for real. That lady got to wear a bonnet. I'm gonna wear her. Her bonnet matched her outfit. That go together. That's a church hat. Shit.
That's a set. That's a
church hat. I don't want to hear that. It's a church hat. Yeah, church elder, and that lady was wearing her hat. Fuck you. With her church hat and her moo shit.
She look at her.
Oh my God, she had on the house coat too. Oh, shit.
She did have. Listen, honestly, she was a little bit embarrassing.
Shit. Oh, shit, that was a house coat. It just didn't have buttons. Oh hell.
No. She was. I remember hearing a song. I think the Brat said it. I can't remember. Somebody was like, "My go to the store clothes look better than your wardrobe," right? And like we all from the Midwest. I can't speak for none of the rest of y'all, but in the Midwest, between the hours of like 7:30 to whenever your kid get dropped off at school, that's go to the store clothes hours. And sometimes you're gonna see somebody in a robe, some slippers, pajamas. Like it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. These bears are from Michigan.
Okay, so anyway, back to baseball.
So yeah, many his bedtime stories that Tony told us about that we don't really. I don't think he was reading any of them books, but okay.
Me neither. I think it was right. So, but go ahead.
Okay, so 2009, A-Rod admits to using, right? Remember?
Right.
He was like, I just want you guys to judge me going forward. Let's not talk about the past. And I was like, God damn, this nigga is gaslighting the shit out of America. Like, I don't remember this press conference. And I was just sitting there like, are we sure he don't be abusing people? Like, are we sure this nigga don't be fucking out there? Like, he's really good.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. When we get through this thing, I'm gonna leave y'all with the question: if A-Rod wanted, couldn't he be a cult leader? And I'm gonna just leave that to y'all.
Bruh, if you think about when he first got caught, for one, if you don't know shit about baseball,
they were like, and he's like, I love you guys.
It's okay.
But look though, the Yankees buy championships. We've always known that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how they got
A-Rod to be a Yankee at that time, and then to get caught the way that he did, and all he had to say was, "Hey guys, let's just look to the future.
Let's not talk about that old shit. Like, I don't want to talk about the old shit."
And it went away. And
it went away.
Yeah. The funny part.
Again, I think cash is king. And when you are talking about a $1 billion industry, and this is your highest paid athlete, and this is the reason that people are tuning in to watch, do you bench this nigga because he did a little bit of steroids? Or do you say, yeah, we're going to forgive him. This is his first offense. We're going to all look to the future, and none of us are going to do steroids again. They're not trying to lose our goddamn money.
MLB on 3.
Right. And MLB, listen, any other motherfucking franchise can take a stain. If you pay attention to baseball, the MLB refuses to allow the New York Yankees to look tainted in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Because if you are not a baseball fan, the first team people usually go to when they want to be fans and don't know shit about the game is the fucking Yankees. They will.
Hey. I was like, too, girl. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, but it's true. It's true. Like, they're like the good son of fucking the baseball league.
Baseball.
They are the golden child, and that's unfortunate. But they are also one of the oldest teams in the league, so you kind of get where it comes from. And so when you look at the legacy of the league, they feel like that is kind of one of the storied franchises. Do you want your storied franchise, the reason that all of this came to be, to look like a steroid factory, or do you kind of be like, okay,
it's cool?
He just drinks smoothies from Smoothie King now. It's fine. He just gets the vitamins crushed up in his strawberry banana. He's good now. Jamba Juice.
Keep it moving.
He's getting his pills crushed up and Flintstone vitamins. We're all good.
So this documentary had a whole bunch of funny parts, but I think one of the like real-time funny part things was like when they cut to like the reporter asking Manny Ramirez, because remember, guys, back in like a year and a half ago, Manny was on steroids. Like we told y'all he on steroids. Don't nobody else know, but we told y'all, right? And the reporter is like, Manny, you see this nigga A-Rod? Like,
how do you feel about that?
And basically he was just like, oh, word? I don't even know. I was over here playing baseball and shit. He hit you with the
Manny literally hit you with every time, when a man gets caught by a woman, when a man gets caught up and he be like, huh? That was Manny. Like, Manny, what do you think about that?
Or when somebody tell you, oh, I need $200 more for my ring. Word, that's Crazy.
That's crazy. Steroids.
What?
Damn. I don't even know nothing about that. I was over here
don't got
just
nobody you
swinging and
call
running and
about
shit.
that. I was over here swinging my bat, making my home runs. You know, not 70,
You know what I'm
just
saying?
37, not 70.
Right.
So I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm just over
Right.
here enjoying this wonderful game of baseball that you white people let me play. And I don't know anything about that. No
I've
sex.
never
That man
steroids. I
heard
don't
the
know
word.
her. I don't know
That
her.
man heard the word steroids and
No,
was
I'm
like,
like, legs.
"Don't say it.
Don't
Don't
say
say it. Don't say it."
Don't say steroids.
No, listen, and he cut the reporter off and was like, no.
Nope.
don't know
I was over
about
here
that.
playing baseball. I don't know what you're talking about.
What-
So
what
the
did old
same
girl do
year.
in the Candyman remake.
So
You don't even go get to say steroids here, buddy. Nope, not doing
Not
that.
here.
I don't know about that. No.
So, I mean, May is only 5 months into the year. So I don't know how far between A-Rod getting caught, this reporter asking this question. But in May of that same year, Manny got suspended for
Literally 2 weeks later.
The funny part,
fucking using.
the
And
funny part in baseball,
why did he
Oh
get
my
caught,
God.
guys?
because he didn't follow the regimen.
Ah!
The
If you
regimen.
know anything about baseball, that's the beginning of the fucking season. Nobody gives a
That's what
fuck
I'm
about
so
baseball in May.
confused.
Like,
He did that interview, walked off that goddamn sound stage,
And it was like,
played one
it
game.
was like, can you piss here, please? Can you piss here? Like,
that nigga,
He
hey, that
walked
nigga
off
straight
that
Rick
sound
James
stage,
did.
onto the field, off the field, and it's
That man said, I ain't never put my feet on Eddie Murphy couch.
oh yeah,
I
I remember. I
That
remember
nigga
my
straight
face.
Rick James that shit. I ain't never taking no steroids. Yeah, I
Oh,
did
yeah,
something today though.
Oh, y'all found some steroids.
And the funny part is when the A-Rod shit happened, they said Manny called Tony and was like, you see that shit? That's not gonna happen to me, right?
That ain't gonna happen to me, right?
And what did Tony say? It's not gonna happen to you. Follow
If you
as
follow
long as
the
you
regimen.
follow the regimen. Ah, and what happens?
And
He
remember, I want y'all to remember while all the stuff that we telling y'all is happening, imagine kids acting it out. So again, y'all have to fucking watch this shit.
The only time you see
You
Manny
have to watch
Ramirez
these because these are kids acting this out.
is on like news clips. Everybody
Right.
acting out what we telling you all about are children.
Right.
Hilarious.
So
But man,
Everybody, the peripheral characters, like literally everybody that is not retelling the story is a child in
Is
the
a child.
reenactments. Like it is hilarious.
Hilarious.
it's so funny, y'all. So where are we now? I just wrote down I didn't like that Will Ferrell joke on SNL when he
I
said that
didn't either. That shit
Manny
was
was a
pretty
predator.
Yeah, I didn't like that
When he
shit.
looked
Either.
like Predator, I was like, oh my God, that's so racist.
Is that
Like,
racist?
I was sitting there like, did you just call him a nigga? Like I immediately was like, sure.
Yeah. At this point
ain't
in
like
the doc, though, this is where we find out that he gets introduced to A-Rod. A-Rod finds out what kind of doc. It's like A-Rod was pretty much like, oh, I can't fuck with this drug dealer no more. I need a new drug dealer. And so
let's back
Wait,
up.
because we gotta
Miss
meet
Hunt?
Oogie instead. We gotta miss Oogie. We gotta meet Oogie.
and Anthony and Tony, my bad.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's back up a little because when the 50-game suspension that Manny Ramirez gets handed down, they immediately start looking at Tony Bosch. So keep in mind, like they was on Tony's
Word.
ass. Tony thought he was going to jail. And what happens?
The best
Michael
thing that ever happened to Tony
And
Bosch.
Farrah Fawcett died.
Yep.
And so what was front page news suddenly
Was to the back.
became like obituary size.
A blip,
Yep.
as we would call it in newspaper writing. A blip, nigga.
Yeah.
Like literally. And then you have to keep in mind that we back then were not on the 24-hour news cycle that we are now. We were getting to that point, but we weren't there. So when Michael Jackson and Farrah Fawcett died, like that
was it.
that was it.
That was the news. Like
There was no other news to be had unless you were going to
Mhm.
bomb a goddamn building and bring that bitch down. You weren't getting priority over that. So he was able to basically lay low, keep quiet, not sell any more steroids to baseball players for like 3 months, and he was good.
And that's what
Like
his
he
lawyer
literally
said.
just had to shut the fuck up for 3
and
months.
his
He was
lawyer
fine.
suggested that.
He said, chill, and in about 6 months, you're gonna be on top.
You're gonna voluptuate.
Literally.
Literally.
6 months later, Tony Bosch was making more money than he could even fucking have fun with. He had baseball players, actors, college kids, high school
kids, guys.
If you in baseball is one of the sports where you can get drafted out of high school to a major league team. You might have to play minor league for some years, but you literally now are getting paid through the funnel of that major league team. And again, y'all, if you know anything about Florida, or if you just want to watch this documentary, South Florida is baseball fucking heaven. Nobody, if you make it out of football or basketball, cool. You make it out of baseball, you're a fucking legend. So they have parents are taking their high school fucking junior and senior children and getting them injected by Tony Bosch.
Because I think that's when we found out. Because they're churning out baseball players. The University of Miami is churning out consistent. Like I think Tony says that 4 out of the 5 players from the University of Miami in 1 year that got drafted, 4 of them were people that were paying. Yeah, they were on his regimen. It's competitive to the point. Like it's just that part of Florida specifically is very competitive when it comes to baseball. These kids are going to the most elite schools just to get a chance to play. And when it comes to playing time and I need to get on the field, I don't want to be a backup. They're taking whatever competitive edge they can get. But then he also, that's where I laughed because they had that cut to his waiting room and there was a bunch of police officers in there and he said he was offering a police discount. And I was like, I was like, those are the people that them motherfuckers, what?
Yep.
Why let me find out steroids?
But now
he got a fucking nigga killing regimen. Like,
but remember though, he was giving them supposedly the legal stuff. Because remember, he wasn't getting rated or looked at or nothing. So the regular people that was coming in there literally were getting stuff that was just helping them lose weight, get stronger, get faster, whatever. He wasn't really, because again, it's just like any drug. Now you giving me $500 a month, I'm gonna give you $500 fucking package. You're giving me $40,000 a year. That's a whole different package to talk about. You see what I'm saying?
So because he's doing so much fucking traffic, he meets Oogie. That's how we meet Oogie, right?
Right. Basically, his clinic had so many motherfuckers in and out of there. He went from 7 or 8 new patients a week to like 60. So when you go from 7 to 60, your supplier is sending you enough drugs of whatever they may be, testosterone, HGH, whatever. Right, you get enough for you to service 50 people out of your clinic. You're not getting enough for you to service 500 people out of your clinic a week. So he had to make do. And that's where we get, what's his name? Jorge Velasquez or Oogie, who is a black market supplier of steroids.
This fake testosterone that he made in his garage.
Which is wild. And my thing is, I'm surprised nobody like tested positive before because it's like
in your garage, right? Like how is it even matching up?
If I made testosterone in my garage, I just feel like somebody would get caught the next week if they injected that shit. Like I just feel like that's. But also like we were saying, when you make do what you do, you might be really good at it. So maybe he's the best at making garage synthetic testosterone.
Right. True. Indeed.
That's still weird, but whatever.
Now, Oogie, I think now, as a matter of fact, now that y'all bring that up, that's how A-Rod got introduced. If I'm not
because Oogie introduced this nigga to a nigga named Yuri.
Right.
And he says he's a personal assistant and says his cousin wants to talk to him. And his cousin comes in like basically like a tourist ass fucking New York Yankee fan.
He's dressed in all Yankee shit, but he's got a Yankee World Series.
He got a fucking championship.
He got a motherfucking
that shit is expensive, and so that means you either have enough money to buy one off of somebody, or you got one the legal way, which means you know somebody that earned one. So he asked where it came from, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got an in with the Yankees. My cousin would love to meet you." So they go to a seedy ass motel like they're about to have hourly sex, and that's where he meets. And like they go like they're about to get the little blowjob, and
not the blowjob special.
Surprise! I don't know if I will put a disclaimer. I don't know if the blowjob happened or not, but I do know that he was like, yeah, I want A-Rod's exact words was, I want whatever you was giving
What
me.
you gave Manny.
Yep.
Give me what you gave Manny. He didn't ask no questions. He didn't ask if it was legal,
What was it?
what it was. He was like, nah, I want that shit. Ratchet it up. Whatever you was giving Manny, I want that shit. Let's go ahead and get it popping. Like, he didn't ask no
Let's
questions.
talk about these numbers. $80,000 down payment. $12,000 a month. He wanted 800 home runs. That was his goal, right? Out of this
Before he
regimen.
retired, yeah.
And he was
gonna give a bonus if he got 800.
If he got 800, he was gonna give him a bonus. And they ended up settling on $200,000 a year for exclusivity. So,
right.
And it couldn't have meant exclusivity to him, but just like that regimen, right?
I mean, I don't. Well, yeah,
he wasn't exclusive to him,
right? Because once we find out all of the other players, which I won't go too far into it, but again, if you watch baseball, when Ryan Braun became that nigga, I literally was one of them niggas like, how? Now it fucking makes sense because he was one of his fucking he was buying from him or whatever. But go ahead.
But it could be that he had all these people on the payroll and maybe it was just proprietary to whatever, or it could have been maybe what he was giving A-Rod, he wasn't allowed to give the others. So he might have been doing them the way he was doing his regular paying customers.
True.
Right.
Like, I'm giving you something to give you an edge, but I'm not giving you the actual like athlete sports package that I'm giving A-Rod, which makes sense because it seems like a lot of the other people that were pro weren't pro on the level of A-Rod.
A-Rod, exactly.
So I just don't think they had the money to even pay for what he was paying for. Not
how could you?
Income. Like, there's no way. Like, those people don't even have the money to pay for that. Like,
but I think they might have had the money to pay for it. But once you ask for exclusivity, and now he's got him at the club with him, he's taking them here. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Can we get into how weird A-Rod seems?
A-Rod grew up with thugs, and he did what thug niggas do. I'm gonna take this old gullible ass nigga. I'm gonna throw him a couple extra 100,000, and now I'm about to keep him close to me to make sure you ain't giving away what I'm paying for.
I can see it. I guess he just seemed like a weirdo to me.
Yeah, and this is where Tony tells us that basically he just was injecting people all over the goddamn country. Like, Tony just sits down and starts telling us, yeah, I had the needles out, mine was, and I had them everywhere at the gas station, on the side of the road, in a box with a fox, green eggs, and ham. I shot him up in front of the monkey cage at the zoo. Like, just whatever the fuck. He said a motherfucker called him and was like, I'm at Marlin Stadium, and he drove up to the goddamn stadium, picked this nigga up like an Uber.
In his uniform.
Like, this nigga's supposed to be batting at back. This nigga's supposed to be warming up for the game.
And getting injected.
And he done Ubered him over to the gas station and inject him in the bathroom. I said, man, you got to be fucking kidding me.
The one nigga said he was at I forgot the name of the gas station. Pretty much he was on the side of the road at a gas station, and he met him there.
Yeah,
took one to a grocery store. Took A-Rod, met him at Club. Was it Live?
Live. Miami.
Yeah. So Live is if you
with the kid,
Pitbull on the stage with the little dancers with their sequin shoes, and I was like, oh my fucking god, I want a sequined outfit with sequin shoes. I was like, look at this man, bitches. I want that same outfit. Do they make it for adults? I want that. They were cute, and the one was up there doing it.
Right.
It's like she was glorious.
Right. Real cute.
Y'all gotta watch this. It's so funny.
The cuteness of the kids just overshadows how shitty everything else that's going on is. And it's like, I'm sorry, that's the best part.
It was so funny. So I hella rewound it like 3 times.
Yeah. Like, so they're in the club, and he like had to do like a blood. I guess he had to take some blood from A-Rod so he can like run his little test or whatever to see what he did.
Nigga.
They in the club, they get so hyped, get to buying bottles, jumping around, listening to Pitbull.
Doing coke and shit, jumping up and down. Yeah. These niggas have dropped the fucking blood on the dance floor like Michael Jackson, nigga.
So
now they laid out around these motherfuckers jumping around while money is being shot out of air guns and shit. While everybody's raising the roof trying to find a bottle of blood in the dark ass club. I was like,
that's what they was doing. They was just like,
at the point that you had to get the bottle of blood, you don't think you need to step out and put that in your car or
put it somewhere?
Or
come on, thank you, somewhere. You're
He
in
just got
club
loaded to
glare.
coagulating shit in his fucking hot ass club pantsuit.
That's why I was like, how is that even a viable sample if you
It's
don't stay in
not.
the club till
And
3
it's on the floor and
a.m.?
shit now. Like,
That's you know what that he took. The scientist in him said the cokehead in him was like, the night will be over soon.
Yeah, and he was a cokehead. We're gonna get into that, but he was definitely a cokehead. Yeah.
Okay, so then this is like, so then we meet. Did we see the video, the commercial with the situation?
Yeah, and he in jail.
The Boca Raton or Boca Tannin?
Yeah,
Boca Tannin. He's in jail.
I thought he just had a kid. He in jail now? Yeah, I was like,
maybe
what
he
do?
went to jail and got out, but he had some tax evasion and some other shit, fraud, some other shit. He was in some shit.
Damn, and that's the situation.
And that's the situation. He went to jail. That's it, right there. The whole time we were watching Jersey Shore, we were wondering what the situation actually was.
Jail time. It was.
That's what it was.
Not paying taxes.
It was Fed time. That's what it was.
So Oogie was like a part owner or part like something in Boca Tanning.
So in Boca Tanning, I think he just knew them because Tony and Anthony, Barone, right?
Pete and Anthony Carbone.
Pete and Anthony, right? So
Pete is the nigga that look like a tatted up pit bull.
Right. Yeah. They come from New York. They two brothers from New York. Which, if y'all watch this, everybody literally outside of Tony Bosch, everybody in this documentary fucked up somewhere else in America and
now they're here
in Miami, Florida.
Miami is like literally the place where you go to like rehab your life. Like it's the place you flee to when you are like evading charges or just got out of jail or don't want to get charged and you just want to create a new life for yourself. Like you don't need a new social or anything. You just go down there and say you somebody else. That's fine.
That's it.
Like you don't have to literally do anything the fuck else, but go down there and say you're someone else, and nobody's gonna ask any questions because they're also fucking into some illegal shit. So no one's gonna ask.
2021 is still off of coke money from 1980. That's why nobody have to.
Don't nobody have questions.
But so while we're talking about niggas that are fucked up in other places, we forgot to mention. All the while, we meet this guy named Jerome Hill, right?
Oh, I thought we was gonna get to that in a little bit, but I'm glad we're here.
Oh, okay, no,
no. Come with it.
Because I only have it because they mentioned him at the beginning, like, and he was like introduced at the beginning. Look, but he's the health inspector.
My note on Jerome Hill says, hold on, where my Jerome Hill? No. Jerome Hill, hood nigga, who's still a hood nigga, and his hood ways landed him a great ass job.
This nigga went from Baltimore fucking detective in the DA or whatever,
and stealing money from niggas,
and beating up other cops,
undercover cops and shit.
Got an assault charge, and then was like, you know what? I'm good on all this shit. Took his little cash he had collected up and went to Florida and became a health inspector, and I'm not mad.
Not mad at all. I mean, the hustle is what it is.
Listen, hey, shit, I know a lot of people that would like to leave Baltimore. Do what you got to do, sir. If you got to punch somebody else to do it, you got to do it. I don't care.
But yeah, so he left that situation, and that's what he's doing. And he's the one who's like basically trying to build a case against Tony, right? Because so that falls under his fucking umbrella. Yeah, we'll get there. I just wanted to tell you about how he also was hiding from stuff.
How he was beating up niggas and stealing money. Amen.
Right.
Look at you.
Now, again, you got Pete and Anthony Carbone. They own Boca Tannin. They end up doing the joint.
Yeah, the 24/7 tan. Like basically, we find out that like Miami, Florida has more tanning salons per capita than any other place in the world, and these motherfuckers got the only 24/7 joint open. They tanning round the clock.
Right.
Cancer for everybody. Boom.
But they got all the sun.
And that's the weirdest part.
They got like it now.
But like you said, they want it now. Yep. They end up doing a joint venture with Tony, and it becomes Boca
Body.
Boca Tanning and Boca Body, right?
Right. So now you can go get tan, and then you can go on the other side of the wall and get injected with steroids, and now you the flyest motherfucker in all of Miami.
Where we loop back to Mr. Porter Dumbass Fisher.
Porter, he is a professional tanner, y'all.
Professional tanner.
Porter's a nigga I wish. Porter's that dude that I would never introduce to none of my other friends, but I'd be friends with him because he's gonna buy all the drinks and all.
Oh yeah, he got everything. He got
Porter. I shouldn't say Porter's dumb. I should say Porter is one of those people that has this wide-eyed optimism about life. Porter feels that there is good in everyone, and he can be the person to exhibit that good from people. Porter is a sucker, and they saw a sucker and they licked, but Porter tries to see the good in everybody. So shouldn't call him stupid. We'll just call him a dreamer and an optimist.
A doe-eyed dummy.
A doe-eyed optimist. He's an optimist. Don't even call him dumb. An optimist who cares about people. He cares a lot.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
About something.
So he really loves Boca Body. He kind of he meets them from Boca Body and shit. And he's just like, yo, like I like this shit. Like I'm super into it. And we'll get into later. Like, no, well, there you go.
Yeah, he's like just like trying to hype up the business. Like he's in there every fucking day. Like, yo,
he made everybody Gmail accounts, nigga.
Well, this is after.
Oh no, that's not for Boca Tanning. This is for later.
Oh right. Okay.
The Tanning thing, he's just in there all the time. He's trying to act like he's friends with Pete and Tony. He's meeting people. Right. He's like pretty much the walking billboard for Boca Tanning.
Basically.
So when Boca Body opens up, he wants to know what the fuck is going on over there because ain't nobody told him shit. And so he's like, I'm in here every day and y'all got this shit going on over here. What does this do? And then they were like, no, that's where you go over there for anti-aging and stuff. And then Porter gets fat and was like, I want some anti-aging weight loss shit. I'm going to go over there too.
Right.
Yeah. And Porter was the perfect guinea pig because like you said, to have all that optimism and then to go from what he stated, he was almost 300 pounds and through the regiment dropped down to fucking 180 and he was buff. Shit, he probably was feeling like, oh yeah, this is the best shit ever. He never asked questions. He did state that he didn't understand why there was no advertisements. You know what I'm saying?
That's why he made everybody a Gmail. He was trying to fucking create a website.
Yeah, he says Tony gave him a pill. He goes to work out. He goes back and he's the only person that's like, well, what is this? And he was like, oh, this is what Lance Armstrong takes.
He was just like, okay. You talking about Lance Armstrong going through a scandal right now?
Like the man going through the doping?
Like Loki, right? Like Loki.
I said the same thing I did. What is the regimen? I need to know about the regimen. What is it? I need to know.
What is it? Right. But at the same time, this is literally the same time Lance Armstrong is being stripped of titles and being kicked out of whatever the fuck you are in when it comes to
we found out why he lives so damn strong. Like,
yeah, like it was so weird. Like he was like, oh, this is what Lance Armstrong uses. And he was like, yeah, I was like, that's weird. Like, how do you agree to that? Like, somebody hands you something and say, this is what Lance Armstrong uses. And unless this motherfucker handed me an apple juice, I would be like,
fucking Gatorade.
Like, yeah, unless it's some shit I can feasibly track back. Like, you just gave me like a bottle of essential water. Like, I don't want no shit you gave Lance Armstrong.
But you know what I think it is too, is like you thinking that you trust Pete and Anthony, you trust the people you meeting through them, and now they fuck with Tony. I must be able to trust him. Like you said, his optimism. This is what literally got him in trouble. Him thinking there is good in everybody, and there might be good in everybody, but once you are that gullible and you mixed up with thugs, my nigga, you literally are the fall guy.
You're a mark. That's it.
Yeah, at all times.
Mark ass, yeah, for
real.
So while Porter's trying to like want to help, everybody kind of like pushes him off to this nigga named Ricky Martinez, right? He's the CFO of Biogenesis, and Biogenesis, remember, is Tony's business.
Basically, we find out that Boca Body goes bust, right? Like him and the Carbone brothers decide we're not gonna do this. He's like, I don't renew my shit with them. I move on. So he packs up his shit, goes somewhere else, and starts up Biogenesis. I don't know if we said that, but yeah, he goes starts up a new company.
But he needs money at that time, and that's where Porter comes into play after finding him, because Porter wanted the regiment. He finds Tony.
Oh yeah.
But Tony tells him, he's like, hey, you know, what he said. He says, what do you want? He says, I want to be fit. He says, no, what do you want? He says, I want to look like Sylvester Stallone. And Tony tells him, yeah, we can do that. But
the part that confused me is, why did he want to look like Sylvester Stallone in like 2012?
Thank you. Come on. Sylvester
old?
Stallone didn't want to look like Sylvester Stallone in 2012.
Old and veiny with like Botox face. Like I didn't quite understand what he was like. Did you mean like set like 80s Rambo?
Like Rambo Sylvester Stallone?
Like,
was you even going for Judge Dredd Stallone?
Like which part? Like what part were you wanting? Like it was very odd. That wouldn't have been my first choice of people, but I guess. And then this
about a Russian Stallone. I don't know. Anyhow,
so then all the people started pissing hot, basically.
Yeah, everybody starts testing negatively. And
what was it? Melvin Cabrera and what is his name? Bartolo Colon. Like they both.
Yeah.
They both started. So then he was like, you know what? Tony's smarter than people give him credit for, because he was like, I don't think I can live down another scandal. Like I got off because them folks died last time, but ain't nobody dead, so I ain't gonna be able to get off. So he was like, I'm gonna release all the athletes off my roster. He was like, hey, so sorry, gotta cut this shit short. You can't come up in here. I don't got it for you. Find somebody else. God bless. Good day. Like he turned loose and was like, I don't got it.
But remember how they needed money earlier, and Porter had gave these niggas $4,000.
Tony told him, you give me $4,000, I'll give you back $4,800. I'll give you $1,200 a week.
20% return. But this is after he releases all the athletes, right? This is where the need for the money comes from, because Tony is leading like an insane life, right? Like his expenses far exceed what he's making off of his regular clients, and there's the problem. He releases all the people that are paying, $80,000 for a package to the people who are paying him like, $300 because they just want to lose a little weight.
Right. Right. So, go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, so this is where fucking Porter finds out that Oogie is basically a drug dealer.
True.
And so he's like, I'm about to go ask for my money back. These niggas was like, what money?
Got it.
So Porter is like, well, fuck it. They have my money. They have something that I want. What do they have that I can take that they need?
Right.
And he finds the patient files. And they're not really patient files if you guys have ever worked in a fucking medical office. Patient files be like full sheets of like typed up paper. Sometimes it's like written, scribbled down. These things are fucking manila envelope or fucking with like fucking Post-it notes in them. Like, so they're not even really patient files.
Yeah, it's like a roll or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought it was funny that he found out that John Cicada was taking this shit.
Through those, just by going through those files, like John Cicada, no shirt on with a bow tie. Like, look at me, Tony did this.
Right, body by Tony.
So again, we just want to reiterate: this is where Porter, in true petty Capricorn, like I don't know if he's Capricorn, but I feel like he's my spirit. Because I felt it in my spirit, because you can fuck with me about a lot of things, but you are not going to fuck with me about my friends, my family, or my goddamn money. And when he didn't get his $4,000 back, Porter was like, scorched earth. Fuck this. We're not burning bridges. I'm finna burn the whole motherfucking city down, bitch. You don't worry about them 4,000. I'm finna get it back in blood. I'm finna ruin your goddamn life.
Yep.
Like Porter was like, he didn't even want $4,000. Porter was like, I want to ruin your life. It is worth more to me than $4,000 to make sure you are penniless and destitute. Like he didn't give a fuck about nothing else. Porter was like, I don't care if these motherfuckers taking steroids to play baseball. I don't watch baseball, but you bitch.
Fuck baseball.
Oh, Tony, like he was ready. And I was like, I fucks with the vision.
Like he was very committed. Like, so that's when he meets the redhead guy, the news guy, right?
Tim Elf or something.
They call it Tim Elfring. When y'all watch this,
the kid, Tim's kid is the best one for me.
Right. Either he's a really good reporter or he has a shitty home life. The reason I say this is because this nigga throws shade on everyone.
He the one who said that the school was a performing
liberal
arts.
So
we're talking about Porter, the Carbones, all of that.
Yeah, Tim actually wrote a book that is basically like the kind of definitive whatever. It's called Blood Sport, something about A-Rod and the downfall of whatever. So yeah. So he writes this, and he also is the person that kind of wrote about the initial Manny Rodriguez. Like he kind of was the person writing about doping
Broke the
in
story,
baseball.
yeah.
Right,
He was
the
a sports writer for the Miami paper. So
right, so he was the one that kind of broke all these stories. This was his niche, his specialty. So he gets an email from somebody calling himself David something. I can't remember what the last name was, but he emails him and was like, I might have some information that you'd be interested in. It's about doping, blah, blah, blah. And so he meets up with him. And what the fuck does Porter do immediately? After giving him the fake name?
Gave him his
Tell
real
him
name?
his real name.
Trust him and just give off the like, well, what was the point, sir?
Right. The email
he
is going to go off the
immediately
trail.
like immediately tells him who he is and how he can verify that he's legit and all this other shit. And it's like, okay.
Right.
But what we
He
find
just
out
couldn't
is
even
he's
friends.
stolen these notebooks from Tony. And so
Right.
he hands the notebooks over to, well, he makes copies of the notebooks and hands them over to Tim for this story that he's writing.
Right.
Tim, right.
And so when they find out that he stole the notebooks, they're calling him and they're like, hey, you have some notebooks that you put in storage for Tony. He would like to get those back. And he did what pretty much anybody else would be like, fuck you, bitch, fuck your mama, fuck your business, fuck them goddamn books. You're not getting them back. I want my $4,000, bitch. Either have it or you'll never see them books again.
Right.
Now, while all this is happening, please keep in mind that he already gave copies to the redhead. So the copy, he already has, the writer already has the copies. Right. So it's the information's out already at this point.
But now, what we find out later, but we can talk about it now because it has all to do with this. He made a digital copy of these as well.
Mm-hmm.
And once the thugs and Tony and everybody finds out that he's giving this information to the writer, they all know a story is coming. They know the backlash to this. So I think,
but they're asking him to tell him to not run it, right?
Right. Pete Carbone goes to his house, has a conversation, asks him to not run the story.
I'll get you your money.
Pete that, yeah, I'll get you your money. He tells Pete, oh, yeah, I'll talk to the reporter, tell him not to run it. And like an idiot, though, well, as my sister says, his optimism, he turns over the fucking digital files
to Pete.
Pete fucking Carbone. Now you have nothing. You don't have the fucking actual files, the digital files, the copies, the nothing, my nigga. You done gave it all up. What up, Tam? So
yeah, so here's the thing. Not quite, because he gives him the notebooks, is what happened.
True, you're right.
In exchange for the four. Basically, he's like, you owe me $4,000. He goes to A-Rod. This we find out A-Rod is a dirty motherfucker. They go to A-Rod and they're like, hey, these notebooks incriminate you. You want to stay out of trouble, you'll buy these notebooks off us.
Right.
A-Rod gives him $10,000. He gives Porter his $4,000 back and pockets the rest.
Right.
Then Porter just never says anything about stopping the story. And he just hands the books over to A-Rod and his people. Like he feels like
$10,000 that's giving these to A-Rod. Huh? This is what was the one dude, how Tony said, the one dude that nobody knew that made the most money out of this whole situation?
Gary Jones.
Oh, there you go.
Gary, yeah.
Yeah, so Gary basically brokers this deal, and then they go back to Porter, get Porter's $4,000, and he's like, well, did you give Tony back the books? And he's like, fuck no. I gave them to the person that paid for them. Tony ain't paid for them.
Right. So Tony went and asked A-Rod for the books. Oh, sorry. And Tony asked A-Rod for the books, and A-Rod was like, "Nigga, I just paid $10,000 for these, so I'm good." And then the story runs.
And then A-Rod starts leaking the names of other people, including
A-Rod gets a lawyer after the story runs. A-Rod gets a lawyer, and then all of a sudden, Ryan Braun and shit, these niggas' names is out in the fucking other papers, not even at the Redheads paper, at another paper. Like, so he was just like, listen, just get this shit off of me. Just like, I don't care. Like, just say other people, like, here's the notebook, read the names off of here, like, because it's not me. It's not me, sis. Like, he was really not doing that shit.
He threw his own teammate under the bus. I didn't do it, but I can tell you he did. Like, what?
You did it.
What? And then we find out that the governor of Miami, right? And then we find out the governor of Miami doesn't give a fuck about any of this and stopping it because he's ran the biggest fucking Medicare, Medicaid fraud in the
The
history of Florida.
history of America.
Like they,
Right.
he don't give a fuck. Rick Scott was like, okay, well, what you want me to do?
Right. It's my
Shit happens.
Florida, it's Florida. Like they said in the documentary, it's the penis of America. And if you've ever been to fucking Miami, if you've ever been to any part of Southern Florida, you know that fucking 80% of the way that people, even if you a legal nigga, somewhere in your chain, you getting paid through illegal money somewhere.
But that's what they said. Like that is the commerce of that part of Florida, right? A lot of it is from fucking illegal activity and scams, billions of dollars. It is a good percentage of the economy there. Everybody's running a scam. If you're not, you in the minority. Everybody got a scam.
Exactly.
So so then we find out the MLB is doing an investigation. They done started a whole internal thing that is like the FBI of the baseball, except for they're not good at their jobs.
But now this is where I have to call Porter dumb, because Porter, one of his biggest things is I'm the one that broke all of this. Nobody's coming to me. Nobody's talking to me. Nobody's doing this. And the MLB comes to you and offers you money and you turn them down? Nobody gives a shit about you, Porter. You want your story out, but you don't want to work with the MLB. So I thought that was pretty motherfucking stupid.
But I think his thing is, like he said, they're not the authority. They're not the police. They're not anybody in law enforcement. It's it's Major League Baseball. So yeah, if he wanted a house and a car out of the situation, they were absolutely going to give it to him. But he wanted, and that's what you're saying, that's his downfall. He wanted the ultimate destruction of Tony Bosch, however he could get it. And he did not feel like going to the fucking Major League Baseball was going to give him that. And I agree. What legal authority do they have?
True.
They were collecting information for their own whatever. They weren't collecting information to turn it over to the authorities.
Right.
So I just don't want to forget this one part. But when Tony was talking about he didn't like when niggas was calling, because while all the investigation, the probing is coming out, there's a whole bunch of like articles and news reports and things coming out, and they're calling him a fake doctor and fake physician. And he does not like to be called fake, right? So that's like one thing, like he's not a fake physician. And he goes on to explain like a fake physician is a nigga that was like a baker one day. And then he woke up one day and was like, nigga, I think I'm about to be a physician. And then he prints out like a fake diploma and he puts on his wall. Tony says that's a fake physician. He's like, what he's saying, he is not a fake doctor. He is an unlicensed physician. And the difference is that he know what the fuck you talking about. And he did this big fucking explanation of this. And remember Jerome Hill, the Baltimore cop? So basically they like must have like played that shit for him. And then he was like, I say fuck that shit. Like basically he was like that, like
he was upset. He was like, I know you didn't fucking play this bullshit. I wish I could
find exactly where it was, and I would just totally play it for y'all.
Oh my god, he was like,
y'all that got a black mama that's ever told y'all, if you don't get the fuck out of my face with that shit, that was
like he basically was like, I don't want to hear that shit. That nigga is not no fucking real doctor.
Tony knew he was lying because he was stuttering the whole time. He was like a fake, like he was stuttering. You know you ain't shit.
But the thing about it is if he would have stayed in his lane of giving people weight loss supplements or whatever the fuck he was doing, he would have been fine, because that's the thing. There is some truth in what he is saying up to a certain point. Like you do have medical training. That's like me. Like, I mean, that's like, to me, that's like if you are a lawyer and you go to law school, but you don't pass the bar.
You still know certain shit. You
still know to a certain extent the law. You are just not licensed to be like, yes, pay me for my services. But if I asked you off the record, off the books, and you're like, well, we did learn about this, you may be able to give me some insight. If I go to school for 4 years for accounting, but then don't decide not to be a CPA, it doesn't mean that I can't necessarily counsel you on your taxes. It just means I'm not a public accountant. So, I mean, I get what he's saying to a certain extent, but it's also, you might have crossed some boundaries, dude. Like I want to see it for you, but you might have.
Look, we found out he crossed boundaries when he found out that one of the doctors he was getting no pass from was dead.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and then a couple weeks after this nigga was dead, he was like, oh, you dead? And he was like, oh, I'm his partner, so I'm just gonna keep writing.
I'm gonna do it right.
Right. The other guy was like, no, we're not gonna stop this money. I'm just gonna keep writing them on his pad, which is crazy because the partner is also a doctor. Like he could have used his own script pad, and he was like, no. Let's not fuck with a good thing. We'll just use the dead person's script pad.
I didn't want to get his name caught up in shit.
No. You will not get me caught up in the fraud. We're gonna keep using this one. Which is crazy when you think about it, because isn't it more fraudulent to use a dead person's script pad
than your own? Right.
But you get caught faster? Somebody's not gonna notice.
Nobody's paying attention that this nigga's dead.
You finished and filled at the pharmacy and they looking like, I was at his funeral last week. Are you?
All right. My
he wrote this yesterday. He's been dead 5 years.
Right. Right now, it's just the office.
Oh my God.
His name on it. But at this point, we are like you said, we at the point where Major League Baseball is trying to investigate. Again, Gary Jones, I forgot how we got introduced to Gary Jones altogether, but Gary Jones is now, he's the ultimate hustler in this whole situation. Because
apparently he's got out of jail, moved to Miami, is like working, like doing maintenance and shit for the Carbone brothers, and that's how they know each other. This motherfucker tells Porter's dumbass, tells him,
wait,
I got paper documents.
I found it. You want me to play it?
Play it. Play it.
Hold on.
I look at a fake doctor is you wake up in the morning, you're a baker, and all of a sudden you want to be a doctor today, and you hang a fake diploma, because, of course, any printer in Miami will print your real diploma, and so you put a diploma on the wall and start calling yourself a doctor. That to me is a fake doctor. An unlicensed physician.
Hey, here comes Jerome, y'all.
Is a physician who studied, who did their clinical clerkships, because if not, you couldn't have graduated from medical school. Okay, who might have done their resident in another country, but cannot acquire his license here for one reason or another.
You know what I say about that? Fuck out of here with that. You can go ahead and tell Bobo the clown about that, but you're not telling me that.
Nigga.
Do he look like Bobo the fool?
Nigga. He said, you know what I say about that? Fuck out of here with that shit.
And when you see it on camera, he points like, fuck out of here with that.
That shit out of here.
Jerome was so fed the fuck up. Like, I don't think he works there anymore because he was so over these people shit. So done. He was over all this little shit. So we find out the Porter, because he thinks that he's about to be killed, took the extra files and stored a copy in Ocala.
Right.
In like a storage building. And so this is where we loop back around to the opening sequence of the documentary, because this is where we find out that basically Porter tells Gary that he goes, which he stops the tan. He's supposed to be getting the files out of the thing so that he can help Jerome Hill make his case. He goes to get the files, has them in his car, goes into Tan and tells Gary, I'm going. Yeah.
Oh, I got them.
I got a files. I got to turn these files over for the state investigation. I was like, what? Why would you tell? What?
He told him on the way back. And my thing about it,
he was just like, oh, stop by. I got this new tanning solution. Like, I know you got to handle that. Like, I know it's super important, but like, stop by first. Like,
why did he literally deliver the documents?
You're literally going to a place
to meet
with documents in your trunk that literally can put everybody that's on the other side
in
of the
that building. Nigga,
you're going to see the niggas that could possibly go to jail because you trying to hurt another dude, and you decided to go tan first before you drop the documents off, my nigga. You deserve to get robbed, sir. You deserved it.
Listen. So this nigga come out hella orange.
Like Trump.
And then the nigga Gary he trying to act like he not a part of it. He like, oh shit, I'm hella loving your tan. Actually, I'm about to go jump in there too.
I'm about to go try it too.
So he go jump in.
And he go outside and his fucking car got broken into. Y'all, these pictures from his actual car with all this fast food and shit all over.
And that fucking natural ice fucking
the ice box.
Do you know how down bad you have to be fucking drinking natural ice? Like it's
only 2 people in the world that drink natural ice.
And nobody,
Fucking-
and eat both of those people, their family don't like them.
Look, 16-year-old kids that live in fucking like Stafford County, Virginia, and bum ass niggas. Those are the only people that drink.
And they parent, and nobody's family likes them.
I was like,
No.
do you know how damn bad you have to be drinking natural ice? Like, it is literally $5 for a 6-pack.
No,
like, it is
ice is more
$5
acceptable than
for
natural
like
ice.
big cans. Like, it's not $5 for little.
Like the big ones.
And I know this because I know some old niggas who don't have teeth on the side who drink natural ice. I know they damn bad. Just like if you drink Still Reserve, if you fucking drinking 211s, you don't care about nothing the fuck that's
You don't
going
care
on in
about your
life.
life,
You don't
your
care about
mama, your
you.
kids.
Nothing.
Nobody.
Nothing. And he had that shit on the seat, and they was like, oh, okay, well. And then they look at the door handle, and they're like, and he's like, is that blood? And the little tech comes up in her hat, and she's like, oh, it is.
Oh.
Click, click.
Kids.
And that's when the one, and that's when the one nigga in the whole situation.
The whole situation.
It ain't been
The
one
goddamn
nigga in this
fake
whole
stuff.
shit, y'all.
The only
One
person that
black
went to
person.
jail in this entire fucking scandal is a young black kid. That kid couldn't have been older than like 21, 22 years old.
Maybe.
Right.
The Carbons hire a kid that does work around the shop to break into the car. Now, mind y'all, we are talking about the highest fucking player in baseball, down to a doctor who's really not a doctor, and fucking two dudes from New York that it came down and is helping these niggas push pills. We talking about illegal shit all over. And the only person to go to jail is the black kid that broke into the car.
Because
At every fucking turn.
I mean, sounds right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about what America is, yeah, you know, unfortunately, we have to. We live in a country where we already know how we get looked at, but it was just like, yo. And then on top of all of this, my thing is like nobody was like, yo, let's get this nigga Reggie a lawyer. Just gonna
And that's my thing. It's like, damn, you not worried about this man snitching on you? Like, you not worried about a conspiracy charge? Nobody was worried about a RICO charge. They were just like, fuck you.
No.
Like, you trying to defraud the government. You trying to defraud the fucking police. You done stole fucking records from a fucking...
Maybe they paid his mama rent for like 6 months or some shit.
I was like, you done stole records from an open, active investigation and everything the fuck else, and you don't think, damn, we need to try to get this nigga a lawyer and put some money on his books to tell him his folks gonna be good or something, or he gonna tell all our business. And also, Reggie, what the fuck? Because you didn't tell all their business, and that was the time to tell it. Like, he also stayed quiet.
The whole time. That's what I'm saying. He had to get paid somewhere.
Yeah,
Mama had to get paid. Somebody had to get paid. It's part of a story we don't know. Because somebody,
all the white people.
He took that charge with no problems. Was like, fuck it, give me these hots and these cots. And didn't say nothing else. Because I'd have told all their little business.
Craziness.
Like, I don't know. You want to go to jail for these white people? Cool, do it. I guess, sir. They must have paid you real good because I ain't going to jail for white people. Never. Not doing it. Not interested. Not going to do it. No. Well, I'm not going to jail for anybody, really. So let me not.
Maybe just keep it on.
Yeah, so it turns out the Carbons are like some real ass criminals. Like, this a whole criminal enterprise ring. They into some other shit. Them fucking tanning salons is probably a drug front. Like, the shit pops off. They into shit. Like, they not just running tanning salons. And so this is when we find out that the Major League Baseball people are just, I guess, trying to keep this shit quiet. Like, I still hadn't figured out what their motive was here. Like, I don't know.
They was literally just trying to collect Blue's Clues and trying to pay people off for it.
I think they thought that Porter probably knew more than what he did since he was so close to Tony at one point. And I think they thought it was deeper than that. At the time, if you really think about it, but we again knowing about or hearing about Canseco and then Mark McGuire and all of that shit, it still was not. Nobody was really investigating. So at this point, when all this shit blew up, it really was nobody else to fucking find. It really literally was over. But I think because they didn't know that they literally were at the end of it, that they were trying to hire this nigga. Because remember, they offered him a position in Major League Baseball to come work for them and help find other people that's doping. Like, no, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, and he was like, no, I don't want to be involved. So then we find Rob Manfred. He's the legal counsel for the MLB. We find out that Rob was like, well, nobody's talking, but somebody got these documents. We finna buy these documents. So the Major League Baseball shells out $100,000 for these documents.
Yep. Guess who got the 100K, y'all?
Gary.
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 Not the nigga that's paranoid and feel like he risking his life, like
because he wouldn't take their money because he wants to see fucking Tony Bosch in jail so bad he can fucking taste it instead of taking his goddamn money and getting the fuck out the way. Now you got to be broke and shit for no reason. He's a
for no reason.
He got his 4,000 back.
He did get his 4K. Gary got 100 and what? At the end of it, almost $200,000. Yeah, Gary wasn't there from the beginning. Nigga got out of jail and landed
in.
Opportunity.
He really just came in, nigga. Like
it's wild.
They over here making money.
So this is when we kind of drift away from Porter and kind of get back on Tony and what he's got going on. Because keep in mind, this whole time all this is unfolding, nobody's bothering Tony. Tony done shut down the clinic and is big chilling, staying under the radar. Like nobody is bothering Tony.
He broke, but he's free.
He poor, but he's free. Like he's not doing anything. And this is when A-Rod's people, because they look at these goddamn ledgers and it's like, ooh, we need to make sure nobody else have this.
Yep.
They start trying to pay Tony off. And this is when Tony decides to do an interview with Pedro Gomez.
His homie.
ESPN.
His homie. Right. That was the most interesting part to me was like, your homie came to you. This is a nigga you grew up with. And you like, fuck it. Yeah, this is my way out. And on your way out, you get drunk as a fucking.
He was so sweaty.
Dog.
It was so bad. It looked like he was having a heart attack.
I thought that he was gonna pass out. Right. I was like, damn, this how you come. This how you come for your homeboy coming to get an exclusive, and this how you coming? Like,
and the crazy part is they did it outside.
Right?
Yes.
Pedro
He's
Gomez
dying.
He ain't doing no just dumb shitty stories. He ain't getting the sideline story. Pedro get the good shit. So you come outside, my nigga. Tony, for y'all just gonna watch this, Tony tells us, I just had a drink or two. Nah, nigga. You did a whole 8-ball and drunk a whole 5th. That's what it looked like.
High and drunk off his ass. Out there sweating, not making sense. Yelling no comment over and over.
I was say, but not schedule an interview to say no comment.
No comment though. But
and God bless Pedro Gomez, because you would think that he would be big pissed this motherfucker had him down here standing outside for him to yell no comment for 20 minutes. Like,
right. And you my man's like we talked about this before this shit happened, like as friends. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Tony got the bag out of this because at the end of this shitty ass, sweaty ass conversation, they asked him, has MLB reached out to you? And he says no. And they said, if MLB reached out to you, what would you do? He says, yo, I'm here and I've always been here. I'm willing to work with the MLB. And he walks off as if he's David Ruffin. And those are the temptations.
This nigga walked out hell sweaty and satisfied, nigga.
Dog, right.
Basically, they reach out to his lawyer and like they put him on the payroll. And
within like 15 minutes, y'all.
Yeah, like they immediately were like, they were like,
and they gave this nigga $5 million. I mean, between he didn't pocket $5 million, but between paying off lawyers, paying for this, doing this, they spent $5 million.
They say they did not pay him. They paid off his debts.
Right.
So they didn't pay him directly because the lawyer is telling us this. No, they did not pay him $5 million per check directly, but they paid off a lot of his debts and legal fees. So to the tune of $5 million.
Listen, all I know is the Tony we talked to looked definitely better than that Tony that was talking to Pedro Gomez, goddammit. So somebody
did something. So yeah, so at the end of this, 13 players get suspended. A-Rod gets a 211 game suspension because keep in mind this is not his first time. It's not his first rodeo.
Because remember, he promised y'all as long as y'all stop looking at old shit, he was gonna be better.
Let's look to the future, guys.
I mean, he was better. He did play better and hit more home runs, just not better about the juicing, but nobody specified, so I could see how maybe we were all mistaken. So Bud Selig, the commissioner of baseball, basically A-Rod was like, I'm gonna appeal this, and Bud Selig gonna have to take this shit back. I'm not gonna do this, and he kept playing. He was like, I don't know nothing about that. I'm not suspended. Fuck you, and kept playing. And everybody else was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go sit down, like you said, because I only make like $200,000 a year, and I got a wife and a mortgage. Everybody else would sit the fuck down. This nigga
Not
was
him,
like,
though.
no. He was like, no. Arbitration, let's go.
Basically.
Tony's
he got his
birthday is the day
birthday.
before the arbitration.
Oh, the game
That's
before?
right.
Yeah, this nigga is like just like fuck it. Like I'm going to the game. They booed him and everything. He ain't give a fuck. I think once you look at any given time, again, just thinking about who the Yankees are. If at any given second somebody can look at you slightly better than Derek Jeter, your whole fucking thought process is, bitch, what else can you do to me? Derek Jeter is the godsend to the Yankees. The only person motherfuckers might put above him is Beirut. And for A-Rod to get more publicity and more love at a small amount of time than Derek Jeter, I honestly felt like he was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck about this. Nobody's really going to do shit to me.
Right.
And at the end of the day,
he really felt like that.
Really didn't. So
Yeah,
He was right.
I mean, he was right. He goes to arbitration. He's over there tripping because he might be a serial killer. I'm not sure.
It's some stuff.
It's weird.
He's sitting across from Tony, like doing faces like this and like playing peekaboo with him and just being a fucking weirdo, guys. Like,
And Tony starts laughing like a goddamn weirdo himself.
Because he's
And the
high.
guy-
He's like, what the fuck is this nigga doing? Like,
And then the guy running the arbitration was like, "Could you stop? Like, what the fuck?" Like,
he was like, I'm not doing anything.
and he gets up, kicks a briefcase, walks out, and goes straight to a radio station to tell his side of the story, or whatever. I don't know. Whatever he goes to do. Yeah, like he just keeps calling.
He was so tiring to me.
right.
He's just weird as shit.
Basically.
Real shit. This kind of is technically at this point, this kind of like the end of the documentary where they started hitting us on the screen. With this happened.
Yeah, like I think, let's see, A-Rod during arbitration, I think his suspension gets reduced to 162 games instead of 211.
Yeah.
So he sits out a whole season, comes back the next season, plays one season, and retires. Because keep in mind, he is at this point, he's made the most money out of anybody. Like highest paid contract. Mm-hmm. A lot of shit with baseball. Like, I don't know the specifics of their contracts and stuff, but most of that money was his. Like, it wasn't like they was gonna get it back. It was like, forfeited. I think he forfeited like $40 million, but at that point, he
didn't
made
even
so
fucking
much.
matter.
Like, like
$40 million with that contract was nothing.
He got his money, got out, retired, and now he like does, he consults. I think he coaches or whatever. Mm-hmm. He does like commentator. Like that man's still making millions of dollars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tony gets a $3,000 fine, and this is when this motherfucker does a 60 Minutes interview, and that's when they realized, and the feds was like, maybe we dropped the ball and we should probably pick him up. So the DEA arrests him for conspiracy because then they realize this nigga's dealing drugs and they gonna look real crazy if they don't.
Mostly, and guys, keep in mind it wasn't about the MLB shit. It was for remember those high school kids that we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
That's what he ended up getting.
He got the conspiracy because he was shooting up minors, and I just feel like, but I feel like their parents should have also went to jail. So
absolutely, because somebody had to bring these motherfuckers.
Somebody had to sign that shit.
Somebody had to pay for it.
So yeah, and then I think he gets 4 years, but only does 20 months. The Oogie guy does 30 months. I think the Carbone brothers, one or two of them get arrested on some charges.
He doesn't get anything.
Tony got arrested on some dumb shit.
Yeah, and then Porter launches the Porter Project or whatever, where he tries to keep other children away from
steroids.
It's
like Dare, but for fucking juicing, nigga.
Yeah, it was very Nancy Reagan, and I was like, baby, they're like, they're still juicing, sweetheart. Like, I don't know what you're doing, Nancy Reagan, but chill out. Go find Ronnie and leave the rest of us alone. It was a lot. And then Tony decides he's gonna open a supplement business across from the stadium to give kids candy or
nutritional.
I think it was just a windowless van, nigga.
Right.
That's the vibe I got. Like, I was like, is he gonna just have a box of pretend puppies in the bag? Like,
you're literally about to open something across from University of Miami. You got the money. You couldn't even have the money to keep going what you had. You about to build a building. Stop it,
And
Tommy.
then it said that shit did not happen.
It did not happen. The last thing you see in the documentary.
Crazy.
And
You
that-
just did fucking 20 months in jail for shooting up minors. And you're like, you know what I need to do? Give kids candy. Need to give them vitamins.
And teach kids how
Need
to
to
fucking
teach
stay
kids.
away from niggas like me.
No, he's like, no, what I need to do is teach the kids how to inject themselves so then I don't go to
So
prison.
I don't have to get in trouble for it.
Yeah,
But basically, guys, that's it. This was literally like, we're telling you the story, but like, go look at it and watch the story with these little fucking kids. Like,
Please watch
you're gonna fucking die laughing. It's the funniest shit, guys.
It's
that
hilarious.
listen, when they panned to Pitbull on that fucking stage,
Hey, darling.
I was
Yo,
crying. Oh my
So
god!
funny.
when
And
they
it
was
avoided-
raising the
and it
roof and they
avoided
shot
a
the money
corner.
gun.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, like what's shooting the money gun? Yo,
And they
for me,
called
it was
for-
when they were having when the redhead and Porter were having that meeting, and he kept doing this to his facial hair and shit.
funny because-
Remember, Porter had the Kool-Aid around his mouth.
Yeah, hell yeah, he was drinking Kool-Aid vodka.
Kool-Aid and vodka, and when they're eating in the restaurant, he has like wing sauce all over his
All over
little
his
fingers.
hands.
That was my
Yo, that
favorite.
Kool-Aid lip, nigga, that was legit.
Roided up Porter was my favorite because he had like the little white circles around his eyes from tanning. Where he had on the
Right.
glasses.
Dolly.
Like, yeah, Roided up Porter was my favorite. I love that. But did you notice he said he had the police discount? The little girl on the picture, like they had it without the padding on her chest, and then they had the after, and she had like the
Exactly.
padding.
Yes, and that's another thing. Is like all of these niggas got little fucking fake buff pads and like tattoo sleeves and shit. It's
Right.
so funny. Like,
Bro, the Pete
really
Carbone
is.
nigga.
yo, Pete
that's
Carbone.
Y'all
And
gotta
then
go
you
watch
see
that show.
and then you see the pictures of the real people, and you're like,
Yes.
okay, they did a decent.
Yeah, they did a
Because
good
The
job.
kids were wearing like wigs and shit. Like,
Yeah, they did a really good job. But it's on Netflix, guys. It's called Screwball. Watch it before they get rid of it. You know how Netflix be
Not
acting.
Netflix does.
It's not on Netflix? It is on Netflix.
No, I said, you know how Netflix does.
Oh, yeah, they do. They stay taking shit off. Like,
it's
okay,
been up
but
for a while, so check it out because it'll
please check
be
it out. It's the funniest. Like, please, if it wasn't funny, like, tell us. Like, something's wrong with you. But anyway, okay,
One
is
of
that
my
it? It's definitely one of my favorites now. Like, hilarious. Like, I kind of want to go watch it again. So, anything else, guys, before we go?
If you guys have any suggestions about other sports documentaries that you would like us to add to the wheel, like, we appreciate it because we want to do things that you like to watch and that you want to hear us talk about. So if there's
Exactly.
something you just loved and want us to look at and talk about, we want to do that. Why not?
Yep. So send us
know.
suggestions on Twitter,
we
Instagram, and then you guys can email us at alldockeduppod@gmail.com if you guys want. So
Right, because we
But
like documentaries, but we can't watch them small. So if you watched it and we have it,
yeah, please. All right.
Do it.
Well, I think that's it. So I'm Chris. That's VJ. That's Penrose. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.